Hello, Kimmy here, still using a voice changer, and in this video I'll show you how to build a really cheap Wither killer that can either get you 1240 or 3000 nether stars an hour, depending on how you want to use it. A wall download, schematic, and other useful things can be found in the description. So, about this farm, I'll immediately explain what I mean when I suggest you can either get 1.5 or 3k an hour. Basically, in short, I've made a setup for either have 4 game tech input or a 1 game tech input. I'll say more about that in the farm overview though. I wanted to create a 1 game tech setup because these are more desirable than I first expected. I figured most people would prefer to stick to a FT plus T setup, but that's apparently not the case. I'll say in advance though that if you don't have a crazy fast with a double farm, you should totally go with the 4 game tech input setup, since that one a bit more forgiving, and you'll probably only use the farm for like 10 minutes anyways, which is another funny point. Why did I make the farm so ridiculously fast? Considering I'm not the type of person to really try and make a near max efficient farm and such. Well, except for the stone farm, but I feel like that one makes a bit more sense with it being a very commonly used resource and such. Well, basically, you have two options with setups like these. Either you wait for each wither to die before you place a new one, or you perfectly time each wither placement so that you can, like, actually place a wither. And the funny thing is that if you put in the designing effort at least, option 2 will be both a lot cheaper and much more efficient. The unfortunate thing is though that there's not really a design with a block by block tutorial on YouTube for option 2 until now with this video. So yeah, that's why the farm is oddly efficient, because the reliability just makes it inherently able to be cheaply efficient. Oh, funny fact about the rates, since Ian's Suez Skeleton Farm is probably the most popular design, I'll compare it to that. It takes over 66 hours of constant AFKing at that farm to be able to run this farm for just 1 hour in the 1 game tech mode, and over 27 hours with the 4 game tech mode. So yeah, do with that information what you will. Anyways, how does it work? The player goes around in a minecart going left to right, placing soul sand. That soul sand then gets pushed up and across with some oddly specific timings. But at the same time, a row of dispensers goes off, dispensing with a skull's rituals on a widow. This widow then either suffocates in the bedrock or gets scanned by other widows that have spawned. Simple as that. Oh, and if it wasn't obvious, there's so much distance between the player area and wither area, because if there wasn't, the player would take damage from the wither spawn explosion. That's about it, I guess. On to deco tips, which I'm sure will be very exciting. So, deco tips. The segment where I try to get you to make your farm look less ugly. And, yeah, I have no idea for this one. And even if I did, I doubt I'd be able to motivate anyone to decorate a farm build in the end, because nobody seems to care what the end looks like. Regardless, I'll try to give some tips. First of all, this farm is a lot less sensitive, as you might assume. As long as all the redstone is in place, and there's a block for the wither to be on, there's nothing to worry about. So you could clear out and alter this whole farm as you wish. What you could do with a cleared out space, though, no idea. Even a cleared out might actually look cool enough as is. Alternatively, like I said in the previous video, you can give it a worn underground cave look, which is something I like to do with underground farms. Might be a bit harder with this one, with it being made out of endstone and such. Yeah, I don't know. Good luck though, and if you do manage to make it look cool, feel free to show me on Discord at CamiBlank. I'd love to see it. Now, onto the farm overview. Using the farm shouldn't be too hard, but there are a few things to keep in mind. Firstly, you'll need to make sure you're putting the right quantities of items in the right container. These stock dispensers need wither skeleton tools. It doesn't really matter if you put in like equal quantities, since the excess skulls will get placed outside of the wither block breaking range. Also note that you could add chests with hoppers on the back of the dispensers if you have a stupid amount of skills. For the soul sand, or soul cereal if you're weird, this needs to be added in the chest in the player area. And unlike the skulls, you will actively lose soul sand if you run out of skulls. This won't break the farm though. The raiders will neatly clean up the excess soul sand. However, if you don't like the idea of losing soul sand, you need to calculate yourself how much soul sand you add in the chest. Note that it's 4 soul sand for every 3 skulls. Either that, or you simply add less soul sand than skulls. Or like the same soul sand as skulls since the 40-3 ratio. You could also add a system to automatically shut off the farm whenever you've run out of skills. I didn't bother adding this in the farm though, since I felt like soul sand is easily enough to obtain. When you fill the containers, you can simply get in the minecart, turn on the soul sand dispenser, and start placing blocks right after the pistons have activated, while looking straight ahead. This is the case for both the 1 game tick and 4 game tick version. However, the 4 game tick version obviously gives you a lot more time to time your input. To use the 4 game tick version, simply hold down your mouse button and press F3 plus T to make your inputs persist. When playing on a multiplayer world, I suggest looking up first, then pressing F3 plus T, and then looking down right after the pistons have activated once. This is because you keep moving when you're loading your texture pack on multiplayer. For the 1 game tick version, you'll need to bind your use inputs to a keyboard key and hold that key. Note that its input will not persist when doing the F3 plus T thing, so you'll need a Q weight instead, or manually hold it down. Alternatively, you could use an auto clicker. However, note that more servers do not really appreciate it if you use an auto clicker. Now, lastly, some additional notes about the farm. The farm should work from 1.14 up to the current version of the game. The farm is not directional nor locational, though you will need a 3x3 square of bedrock, which is obviously easily obtainable in the form of the endrail. However, you could technically also build it in the nether, since the bedrock roof can form a 3x3 square of bedrock, even at the first layer of bedrock, so you wouldn't even need to break bedrock. It can be a bit hard to find though. Anyways, that's about it, I think. If you have any further questions, feel free to either place a comment or DM me on Discord at CamiPlank. Now, onto the material list. I'll be using andesite as my building block and granite as my scaffolding block, since they're both easy to count. You can use any block you want though. You can also use any wood type you want. The gravel block can be substituted for any solid gravity block, like sand. The piston, button, and hail on the bottom row are only used to put the hopper minecart into place, and will be retrieved when it's put into place. Anyways, that's about it, so good luck with the tutorial. And that's all I have to show you. Make sure to check the description. By the way, I have a lot of other videos planned, so stay tuned if you're interested. Also, if you have any ideas on how I could improve my videos, please tell me down in the comments. Any criticism is appreciated. That said though, if you have any further questions, feel free to DM me on Discord at GammyBlank. Also consider subscribing. It'll mean a lot. See ya!